Medicaid renewals are back on a yearly cycle in New York. If you or your loved one is a minor under the age of 18, with Medicaid handled by your county local Department of Social Services, LDSS, in New York State, outside of New York City, this video shows exactly how to complete and submit your recertification packet on time so your coverage doesn't lapse. Not sure who handles your case? You can check the LDSS directory at health.ny.gov/health_care/Medicaid/LDSS.htm. If you are enrolled in a CCO, a care coordination organization, do not hesitate to contact your care manager for assistance. They are prepared to be there for you through this whole process, assisting with paperwork, confirming who will submit, tracking the due date, verifying receipt by Medicaid, responding to any deferral requests, and ensuring an approval notice is issued. Even if you recently certified within the last 6 months, it is best practice to submit the packet and ask questions afterwards. If you're unsure whether you need to submit it, please do not wait for Medicaid to respond before turning it in, as delays can lead to case closures. Did you know you can appoint a Medicaid authorized representative, like a care manager or a trusted person? They can help submit paperwork, respond to requests, and get notices. To do that, simply fill out the DOH 5247 form. This reduces the risk of delays, lapses in coverage, or missed renewal deadlines. We're looking at the local Department of Social Services, LDSS, recertification packet used for children under 18. Page 1 of your packet includes a notice with your case number and contact information for your local district. Page 2 displays your due date in bold and the return address. Keep the notice pages, especially the page with the return address, because local districts no longer include prepaid return envelopes. Page 3 has important instructions. Be sure to read them before you start. On page 5, be sure to confirm your child's address. Medicaid sends extremely important mail, such as renewals, approvals, and requests, so the address must be correct. If you want mail to go somewhere else, list a mailing address. Make sure you also have good phone numbers listed. In Section 2, list only the child who is renewing. And in Section 3, list other household members like parents or siblings. And when asked if they need coverage, choose No. Section 4 asks if anyone is pregnant. Again, this pertains only to the child for whom this packet is being completed, and you should answer accordingly. Section 5 asks about lost insurance since the last time you renewed. Section B asks about new insurance. If your child was added to a parent's plan, include details and how much the parent pays monthly, plus a pay stub showing the premium, the plan's summary of benefits and coverage, and a copy of the new insurance card. Medicaid may reimburse the premium if the private plan is cost-effective. Section 6 asks if the individual has become disabled since the last application or renewal. Even if this is not a new condition, please always select Yes and list the child's name as well as their diagnosis in the explanation portion. If the child is working and incurs out-of-pocket work-related expenses, for example, costs for paratransit transportation, call a bus, or other transportation services used to get to and from work, those expenses should be listed here. These costs can help reduce countable income. Section 7 asks whether a parent has left the household since the last renewal. If this applies, please be sure to include the parent's identifying information as requested on the form. Medicaid asks for this information so they can determine whether the parent has access to a health insurance plan that could potentially cover the child and/or is providing child support, which may need to be reviewed as part of the case. Providing this information helps Medicaid fully evaluate the child's coverage options and eligibility. Section 8 is very important. Medicaid requires that all income be reported. Be sure to report all income for everyone, including parents. If both parents work, list both. Put the person's name, type of income, employer, gross amount, and how often they're paid. If your child receives child support, SSI, or survivor benefits, include that information as well. Even if the child is enrolled in the HCBS waiver and the parent's income will not be counted, it must still be provided. Medicaid cannot apply the waiver income exclusion unless the income is first documented in the case record. This requirement is subject to state and federal audit. Do not leave this section blank and do not write waiver in place of income. Either of these will result in the case being closed. Accurate and complete reporting in Section 8 helps prevent audit issues, delayed processing, and can prevent the loss of Medicaid coverage. A strong best practice in Medicaid recertification is to provide supporting documentation for everything listed on the recertification packet. In Section 8B, if no income is reported, Medicaid is required to follow up to determine whether there is any undisclosed income. As part of this review, Medicaid may ask how the household is meeting basic living expenses if there is no money coming in. It is very important to be honest and specific in this section. If income is not being earned, you should clearly explain how you are managing financially, such as receiving help from family or friends, using personal savings, living with relatives who cover household expenses, or other lawful means of financial support. Medicaid may ask for a letter of support explaining how basic needs are met. Include the supporter's name, relationship, contact information, what support is provided, such as housing, food, utilities, transportation, and personal expenses, whether it's ongoing, and a signature or date. Being transparent protects your coverage. This section is meant to clarify your situation and not penalize you. Sections 8, C, D, and E. If your child is a student or in vocational training, indicate so. Children usually don't pay third-party premiums themselves, so that's often a no. The MBI WPD, Medicaid Buy-in for Working People with Disabilities program, is for working adults. It usually does not apply to minors. Section 9 is asking if the child's portion of the housing payment has changed. If your child lives with family, write NA. If they live in a residential setting, you should contact the provider agency and ask the provider what the child's share is. Section 10, Citizenship and Immigration. Report any changes such as becoming a U.S. citizen. Section 11, Resources that can be converted to cash. List resources owned by your child. Bank accounts, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. A 529 plan in the parent's name does not count. ABLE accounts and trusts must still be listed, even if excluded. Include the latest statements. The next part of Section 11, spouse information, is only for married individuals. Next, don't forget to sign. A parent or the individual must sign. Unsigned forms will not be processed. The Medicaid recertification process for children is not meant to be overly complicated. The key to a smooth renewal is providing complete and accurate information up front. If you are ever unsure whether something should be listed, please go ahead and include it. Medicaid will make the final determination. You cannot provide too much information if something is not needed. Medicaid will simply disregard it. However, underreporting can lead to requests for additional documentation, which often causes unnecessary delays and can put coverage at risk. For every recertification, please please make sure the following information is clearly noted somewhere on the packet: that the child is disabled, and if the child is HCBS waiver enrolled, that they require Code 19 for CBLTC coverage. That's for community-based long-term care. And include any supporting documents like a waiver notice of decision, LCED determination, or an eligibility letter, especially if they aren't on SSI. The final steps. Again, make sure you sign and date the renewal, as unsigned forms will not be processed. Be sure to mail or deliver the packet by the due date to the address shown. Keep copies. Watch your mail for either approval or a request for more information, and respond quickly to avoid gaps. This process moves faster when everything is complete and clear the first time. If you receive a deferral or request for more information, respond before the deadline with exactly what is requested. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or need follow-up support, please reach out to your care coordination organization or care manager for further assistance. Thank you so much, and enjoy your day.